Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe we are nearly at the end of November. It blows my mind. Today I want to talk about a little bit about makeup theory. I didn't know for a while if I should talk about this. I guess in my head I thought that I wasn't really like qualified, but then I remembered when I was tidying my desk, well, I was reminded by my makeup certificate that I do have a qualification in makeup artistry. So I just thought I'd pop on here and talk a little bit about base theory. I'm not going to go into colour correcting or anything like that. I'm just going to do my base and talk you through it as I do. The four main things I want to talk about is contour, bronzer, highlight and blush, because I see these being used interchangeably and that's absolutely fine. I'm completely up for experimentation with makeup and artistry and makeup, but I've been asked a few times by various people over the years what's the best way to use these products. So I just thought I'd cover these basics, then it's up to you how you want to play around with them. So first of all, prepping the skin is really important for makeup. At the moment, the changing weather is kicking my skin's ass. I'm so dry. So I'm going to use the Ordinary Hyaluronic Acid and B5, and I'm just going to pop that over my face. So my current foundation I've been using is the L'Oreal True Match. This is in the shade 015N Porcelain in a buffing motion. So the reason I buff it is because I want a slightly more natural blended in look. If you wanted a thicker, you could use a flat foundation brush or build up the product in thin layers via buffering. Once I've finished up with my foundation, I'm going to move on to concealer. The concealer I'm using is the trusty Collection Lasting Perfection concealer in its fancy new packaging. So I'm just going to pop that on where I need to conceal. Some people conceal first, some people foundation first. I foundation first because I like to get a layer over and then I can spot conceal. So I'm going to pop some just in here where it's dark. I'm not going to mess around with like a V under my eyes or anything like that. I'm going to pop some here and then around my nose where I have a bit of redness. And then I'm going to spot conceal. So I have a lot of hormonal breakouts right now. Then I'm going to take a dense concealer buffer. This one is the 142 from Zoeva, and I'm just going to buff that in. So as you can see, now we have a pretty blank canvas to work with. So now you can set this base if you'd like. You can use a setting spray or you can use a fixing powder. This is a Dermacolor one, this one is Rimmel's. I'm just going to use a little spray just to fix this in. And just give it a sec. So I'm just going to quickly touch on brushes. I have a selection of brushes here. I'm just going to talk you through why they're good. So first one I've got here is a powder brush. This is a 106 Zoeva powder brush. Obviously it's good for setting powder. It's nice and big, you can sweep it off. It's also really good for blending if you want to do big areas of blush or bronzer. A kabuki brush is also a good alternative to this. Then we've got a traditional blush and contour brush. Traditionally, they have an angle on them. This is so you can really get into the hollows of your cheeks and it just mirrors the contours of your face. The ones that have been more popular recently is this style of tapered brush. This one is a Spectrum CO3, it's a nice big one. This is a Spectrum Mean Girls A21, and this one is the Real Techniques contour brush. You can see they all have a very similar shape. These brushes are more tapered and it means that you can get more colour in a localised area. This one I like to use for highlight, and these two I like to use for contour / bronzing. I don't tend to use the angle brush myself, but I would use it on clients. It depends on your face shape, it depends on your own personal preference. And this one I'm probably not going to use today. I would use that normally. I'm going to be using these three brushes to show you today. First up, let's talk about contour. So the reason that we contour, a lot of people don't know what it is or what it's for. So the idea of contouring is you want to use light and shade to hide certain areas of your face, pull them in. So for me, I have an oval shaped face. If I was slimmer, it might be more of a heart shaped face, but I'm not. So you work with what you've got. You might have a square face shape, you might have a round shaped face. So if I look at my face, I would think, right, what do I want to change that I would find attractive for my face? It's my choice, it's my face. So for me, I have quite a large forehead. I might want to bring this down a bit, bring it in. I might want to bring in my cheeks a little bit to give them some shape, and I might want to hide this little double chin going on here. Personally, I don't like to contour my nose because I don't have a wide or a large nose, but that is completely up to you. If that's something that you feel that you would like to do, that's kind of what I contour. You don't really need to contour any other place of your face. You might want to contour a little bit under your chin if you want to make your lips a little bigger. So contour shades are quite specific. They're not, you can't just normally use a bronzer. Bronzers are quite warm, orangey toned or red toned. You want something that has a cooler tone or an ashy tone to use on your skin so it looks more natural. So the one that I like to use, you can see I've really hit pan on this one, is the Sleek Face Form Contouring Blush Palette Medium 347. This is a really good high street contour. If it's within your budget and you'd like to go for a more premium brand, then I would definitely recommend the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder, or you could go for the Charlotte Tilbury Liquid Contour. Today I'm going to be using powder products, and I'm going to use this smaller tapered brush. First of all, swirl the product, get it loaded, tap off your excess. I know some people blow on their brushes. I don't like to do that because all your germs are going on your brush. If you're a professional and you were doing it for a client, you would never do that. It's just so easy to tap. The first rule of contour is imagine a 3 on your face, and that's kind of where you want your contour to go. Instead of drawing a 3, I like to always start on my cheekbone. You can suck in your cheeks if you like, or follow it from just above your tragus on your ear and down towards the corner of your mouth. So just pop it on. I'll do half my face first and then show you. And you just want to do really light circular motions on this. We want it all to look blended and natural. And I'm going to bring it up to my temple. So we're creating the upper part of the E and popping it on my forehead, focusing it on the high point of my forehead where my hairline goes, and blending it toward the middle. So it's a more circular shape. If you think about what we deem beautiful in Western society, it's normally a round, younger face. So that's kind of what most people tend to aim for when they contour. I like to contour my ear a little tiny bit just to blend, and then bring it under the jawline very lightly. We're bringing it back onto the neck, and you could go a bit heavier if you have quite a pronounced jawline. I don't, because I got this. So I'm going gently, gently. If I turn to face you now, you can see that I've brought my forehead in. You can see my cheekbone is more distinct, and you can see that the jaw, if I turn my light down, you can see there's now shadow and depth to my face. I'm just going to do the other side now. If you find that you need to blend it a little bit more, you can just use your foundation brush and soften all the edges. Now I'm going to move on to bronzer, because these are the two things that people really mix up. Bronzer is where you would naturally get hit by the sun to make you look lovely and healthy and glowy. So the one I'm going to use here is an old Rimmel one, but in the Sleek set there is a bronzer. So I'm going to take this bigger brush now. I'm going to give it a good swirl and a tap, and then I'll show you where I put it. If I was out in the sun, the places I would get hit would be the top of my head, on top of my cheeks, top of my nose, and maybe my chin. So I'm going to add that in. Make sure you're blending it. And try and get into your hairline if you can. My hairline is a biatch because I'm so white. So it might hit me here. It might hit me here. And it would definitely hit me here if I tanned, which I don't. So there's a little bit of my chin. I've gone for quite a matte bronzer here, but obviously you could go for a shimmery one or a goldy one. The ones that have red tones in are the most natural looking ones. And I'm going to give it a good old blend with my foundation brush. When you use a orange contour, it looks too obvious, it looks too overdone, and it's kind of defeats the purpose of doing it in the first place. The idea of contour is to trick people into thinking that you have a little bit more cheekbone or a shorter forehead or less of a double chin. If I turn my light down, you can see that I just look a lot healthier. Now I'm going to go with blush. Currently my favourite blush to use is this Zoella and Colourpop pressed powder in the shade Soulmate. You can see I've used a lot of it. The reason blusher exists is to make you look flushed, more youthful, to make you look like you're in the throes of lust or love. Basically you want to put this anywhere you would naturally flush if you saw someone you fancied or you're a bit embarrassed. I would naturally put this, for me, on my cheeks here, the apples of my cheeks. Everyone's face shape's a little bit different. There is the old theory of smiling and putting on the apples of your cheek. It's a little bit old-fashioned now. We don't tend to do that as much because when you drop your cheeks, the blush lands here instead of here. So I would always put it a little bit higher if you were going to put it on this area of your face. You could also put it on this area of your face here. This makes you look a lot more grown up. It makes you seem like almost like you're in control of your flushing. It's quite a cool little technique. I'm going to show you it now. So I'm using that same brush I used my contour. I've given it a good tap and I'm going to pop it up here. And it's going to bring out my cheek. I'm going to move it a little bit up here. But I'm not putting it down here, just up here. Keep it nice and high. It'll make you look more youthful. And make you look really put together. When I'm adding product to my face, by the way, I'm doing it really lightly in a lot of layers rather than just caking it on. I am also going to put a little bit on the tip of my nose. I like the way this looks. I would also naturally flush there myself, but if you don't pop it there. I'm just going to put a little bit on my chin. So that's where I would naturally flush. So basically what we're doing is we're controlling where we're putting colour. We've laid down a surface that has corrected the colour that we have that we don't want people to see and given ourselves a blank canvas. Then we're putting on colours in a place that we want people to see that looks attractive to our eye. And again, I'm talking from a Western point of view. Obviously in different areas of the world there's different beauty standards and different things that is considered beautiful, but I'm going from what I know. So I've just given everything a good old blend. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is highlighter. So for me, highlighter shouldn't just be somewhere that's shoved everywhere just to, I'm not really sure why people do that, just make their face quite shiny. I do love a highlighter, do not get me wrong, I love a strong highlight. The one I'm using here is my Broken Pixie Glowy Powder. This one's called London Luster. The one I've gone for has got like a slightly yellower tone. You could use a white tone or a pink tone or a blue tone depending on your skin undertones. Again, I'm going to pick it up on the brush. I'm using the Real Techniques brush for this. Okay, so the point of highlighter is to highlight your high points of your face. This is where you would naturally shine if again the sun was to hit it. Highlight is also the opposite to contour. You want to highlight certain areas of your face and bring them forward. I am going to put mine on the top of my cheek here. I'm going to put it on my nose. I'm going to put it on my cupid's bow, and then I like to put a bit on my forehead. But obviously depending on your face shape or what you want to bring forward, you might not want to bring your forehead forward or your chin forward, or you know, it's up to you. You know your face shape. I really recommend getting a mirror and really studying your face and the shape of your face because it's invaluable to know. So we're going to start on the cheekbone. I'm just doing light actions. You could use a fan brush for this if you wanted to, and you can just build up the colour. And then I'm going to make a V shape into my eye. I'm going to follow the socket. I'm also bringing this part of my eye forward because I have hooded eyes. Then we're going to do my nose. You don't want to do too much on your nose. I like to do mine down the centre and a little bit on the tip. But I don't want like a Tin Man nose. Cupid's eye. Can you see I've brought that a bit too far forward there? So I'm just going to take my foundation brush and I'm just going to blend that back. Not so prominent, right? And then just more localised. The last place I would highlight is just the inner corner of my eyes. Just going to take a slightly denser brush. I'm using the concealer brush I used earlier and just popping it right in the corner of my eyes there. Makes you look more awake, which I always need. The last thing I'm going to do is give myself a little spritz with a setting spray so I can give it a shake. You look healthy and glowy, not cakey. You can see my cheekbones come in a bit more. You could do that more extremely if you wanted to. My forehead isn't as high looking. And what I'll do is I'll take a still from the beginning of this and put it next to me so you can kind of see the difference. So you can see there's a massive difference there. So obviously to complete this look, you would do your eyebrows, you do mascara, always clean off your lips. That look just ain't good, man. And there we go, that's how you do your base. Nice and natural. Everything is where it should be. Obviously if you wanted to change it up, then do so. It's makeup, you can take it off, that's perfectly fine, that's what it's for. But I just thought that knowing this little bit of makeup theory was just useful. If you know the basics, it's easier to play around with it rather than starting without a Scooby-Doo. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions about makeup, obviously the makeup I've done here is kind of quite a natural, everyday, easy makeup look. It's not a super editorial look or anything like that. Yeah, if you've got any questions, please pop them down below and I'll try and answer them. If you want any recommendations for products, I'll try and answer that too. And I think that's everything. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!